Hey guys, what is going on? So I want to compare some pictures, one from my most recent cut towards the end, and then one from my cut from last year towards the end. Kind of show the differences in terms of, muscle gain, weight gain, body fat percentage, strength numbers, everything like that. And kind of go over the process that I took in order to achieve these results at a relatively advanced stage. Okay, so before I get into that, I do want to just kind of reiterate that there is a significant difference in terms of the body fat percentage that I have. So the one picture I'm going to show you for this cut is going to be 16% body fat, and the other one's going to be 12% from last year. Okay, so that's a pretty significant difference in terms of leanness. Obviously, the leaner picture, I'm going to look better, but I did accumulate a lot of muscle over that time period, a lot of strength, and that's kind of the emphasis of this video. So I'm not a master of lighting and angles, and I don't do these bulks and cuts to have better pictures for you guys. Like, I don't really care about progress pictures. That's why I don't really show them all that much. I do have them on Instagram if you are interested, but I'm going to showcase, one from last year, one from this year, kind of show that difference visually, but then kind of go over like the actual raw numbers, which I think are much more important. Okay, so this first picture is me at 241 pounds. This is me at 16% body fat. Like I said, I did end up cutting to 15%, so just a little bit lower than this at 238 pounds, which is the leanest that I got. And I can kind of talk about why I only cut to 15% around 15% this time around, as opposed to last time I got, significantly leaner than that. But this is me at 241 pounds. And then the other picture from last year, this again, I do look better here, but I'm 218 pounds at 12% body fat. Okay, so let's do some math here. Let's just say round up, I'm 250 pounds. Each percent of weight at 250 pounds is 2.5 pounds. So a 4% difference in leanness, take away 10 pounds of fat. So let's say in that second picture, I have 10 pounds more fat on my body, right? So 23 pounds difference between these two pictures. Let's say 10 of that is fat. It could even be more. It could be more than 10, but 13 pounds of lean mass. I'm not saying that's muscle, okay? When I say lean mass, that can be a variety of things. I would say that I'm, probably equally depleted in both of these pictures in terms of like carbs and stuff like that. But a 13-pound difference in lean mass, maybe 10-ish, maybe a little bit more, who knows, in fat mass, okay? So 13 pounds lean. That is a very large increase. So that was over the course of a little bit less than a year, okay? And that is a very significant difference. I put on 40 pounds to my bench. I put on 30 pounds to my overhead press, so I can bench 415, overhead press 275. And I've not seen gains like that since I was a teenager, to be honest. Like it has been so long since I've seen gains at the rate that I did this bulk, okay? And, obviously a lot of my channel, I do talk about my supplementation with like Turkesterone and Ecdysterone. And obviously I've talked about that so much, like I don't even need to get into that, but obviously that was a factor there. But the real thing that I want to emphasize that I was able to, really achieve these results is the massive surplus that I was in. So I gained 45 pounds over the last 9 months. So 9 months is a pretty long period to bulk for a lot of people. At least it was for me. Some people are able to bulk for longer than that, but 9 months of bulking 45 pounds, that is about a 600 calorie surplus over the course of 9 months. So that is a very aggressive bulk. That is like a dirty bulk. I mean, I had to eat like pretty dirty foods to be able to eat that many calories. It's pretty brutal, but I'm not recommending that everybody goes into a 600 calorie surplus. And then when I cut my weight, I only, needed 6 or 7 weeks to get down from my peak bulk at around 22% body fat to at the very end, I was at about 15%. Okay. So the reason I did that very aggressive cut is because I accumulated so much fat over the course of that bulk. And that's something that people just simply don't want to do. Okay. So the standard strategy that people do, they lean bulk and they, maybe bulk on 200 extra calories, and that's great. But I think if I were to have done that, my results would have not been nearly as good. They wouldn't have been as fast. They wouldn't have gained as much size and strength over that time period as I did. Okay. So I think the reason that I was able to do a 600 calorie surplus and be comfortable getting to, not only did I get to 22% body fat, but in the 260s, that is a lot. Like if you do the math on your calculator, 22% body fat for somebody like me in the 260s versus somebody who's like 160 pounds. Like, I have way more fat to lose, but then obviously I have more muscle on my body, so it looks a little bit better. You know, I still add abs, everything like that. But the real thing that I want to emphasize is that, one, I do think that that 600 calorie surplus accelerated my results, but it came with the unwanted, you know, consequence of the fat gain. And for somebody like me, for somebody at my size, I was able to cut very, very quickly and get back down to 15% body fat in not that much time because I was such a large person. And that's not going to be the case for 99.9% of people. Most of you guys are not 240, 260, right? And so the thing that I really want to emphasize here is that, you know, people always talk about, you know, once you get advanced, you can only gain 1 or 2 pounds of muscle per year. And it's like, well, there's such a diminishing return in terms of, you know, when you bulk and you bulk on 600 calories, the amount of muscle that you can actually accrue on that is not very favorable. And therefore you put on so much fat. So many people shy away from those large surpluses that they would otherwise enjoy if they were skinny and they were new to the gym. And, you know, that leads to that unwanted, you know, side effect of accumulating all that fat, and people just don't think that's worth it. But when people talk about only gaining 1 or 2 pounds, you know, of muscle, it's probably because they really just want to hold on to that leanness because they don't want to just accumulate a bunch of fat. And obviously people, you know, lift to look good. And if, you know, you're not looking good, if you're getting the 25% body fat or whatever, because you're bulking so aggressively, a lot of people don't want to do that. But whether that's something that you choose to do or not, I'm not telling you which way is right or wrong, but I'm talking about in terms of efficiency. You're not going to be able to maximize your results and gain any more than, you know, 1 or 2 pounds of muscle in a year if you are afraid to eat enough calories. Okay, so that's just kind of the thing that I want to emphasize there. And then it's like, okay, well, Cooper, that's very easy for you to say when you can cut so aggressively, you can look relatively lean at higher body fat percentages, stuff like that. And the reason I'm able to get to that level is because I've accumulated mass over the years by bulking. And the funny thing is, like, the years prior to me doing this, I was basically plateaued. I wasn't really putting on any muscle. I was kind of hovering around 220. I couldn't really get past that. And I was doing that whole main gain thing, or I was doing that lean bulking. I wanted to stay lean. I didn't want to get fat and accumulate and get up to 20% body fat. I never wanted to get back to that. And that's basically when my results ended. I basically, like, you know, couldn't increase my bench. I couldn't get any bigger. And I kind of look back, you know, on this bulk that I just did. I look back on when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, lifting in high school, and I put on a whole bunch of size, a bunch of weight, muscle, everything like that in a very short period of time. It was because I was bulking so aggressively back then. I was bulking so aggressively in this bulk. And when I stopped having that mindset, when I stopped being willing to commit to that bulk and actually put on the fat that I didn't want to accrue, like when I started to become afraid of that fat accrual, that's when my gain stopped. And I think people have that self-fulfilling prophecy of saying, oh, you have this natural limit. Oh, you can only gain 1 or 2 pounds of muscle per year. And for that reason, they limit their belief in what they can achieve. And therefore, there's no reason to bulk on 600 or 500 or 400 calories. Because if you're only going to gain 1 or 2 pounds, you're doing all this work, accumulating all this fat for no reason, when in reality you actually can gain more than that. You just limit yourself because you think that you can't, and therefore you don't bulk to begin with. Okay, so first of all, you have to have the belief that you can actually do it, and therefore that's going to affect your training. Your mind is extremely powerful, so your training is going to be there. That means that your diet is going to be, you're going to push yourself to be able to actually put on, you know, enough fat to be able to get to that level. And again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that we limit our own beliefs and thinking that we can't gain at a certain rate, and therefore we don't even try, or maybe we try, but we do it on such low calories that it's just not going to happen, right? So that's really the thing that I want to emphasize, is not that you need to get to that level. And in fact, if you are making gains and you're a beginner and you're just putting on size, you probably don't need to eat in a super significant surplus, because it's easier for you to put on muscle. But the way that you get to a point where you're able to put on so much size where you can cut very quickly and then bulk for longer periods of time, accumulate more fat, and actually look good at a 20+% body fat level, that just takes time actually bulking. And until you kind of turn that switch on in your head and actually commit to that, I think that's really what holds a lot of people back. And that's what was holding me back for the last few years until I actually realized this. Okay, so I just really want to put that out there because I think people are so afraid to bulk now, like legitimately bulk, not just do like a very like 100-calorie surplus type of thing. So really want to put that out there for people who, you know, are struggling with that. And if we all kind of normalize this whole, like, you can actually put on some fat in the process of gaining muscle, which was the old school way, is how everybody used to do it. But now in the age of Instagram, when everybody wants to be lean all the time, and people like 0.0001% of the fitness community is what you're seeing on Instagram, and the reality is that all the rest of us are just normal people. Like, you don't have to fit those guys' standards. Like, they are miserable being that lean, or at least some of them are, and it's very difficult, and it's going to hinder your results and everything like that. So I think people are so influenced by those people online, and I just really want to kind of be this voice to say, hey, like, please just be willing to eat more food, have a better, healthier relationship with food, be willing to put on more fat, and be okay with it. And then you'll gain more muscle over time, and you'll look better and better, and bulking and cutting will get easier and easier for you. So hopefully that can help some people. It's something that I have to constantly emphasize to people in recent years as I've been, bulking more again. And I just kind of really wanted to emphasize that and show that, that 1 to 2 pound gain when you're advanced, it's this fictional number, and you don't have to adhere to that. So anyway, that's what I got to say about that. I'll keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.